Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time for Thursday, May 14, 2020. Is it May Day? I don't know, but I do know that I'd like to call May Day because I am here with my co-host.
Yes.
The leastest. David Octavius Octavius, the alleged backyard, one-time knockout, straight-edge hardcore Hall of Famer hero. David, how are you?
I'm fantastic. We survived another Thursday.
No,
Can you believe it?
Well, it's still the evening and the night of Thursday.
I'm not leaving my house. Nothing bad can happen. I'll be fine.
Well, yeah, I'm sure of that. And thank you for joining us all over the world on Fight TV, on our social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. But you know what? We talked about it earlier today on PWR Today. It is not just you and I, David Hero. We've been joined by a tremendous person who will be joining us here on Thursday nights on Prime Time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and the very only Shane Helms. Shane, how the hell are you here tonight?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about being a part of this new project with you guys. New for me. You guys been doing it for a while, but thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming.
Damien is much older than us, so yes, he has been doing it for a while.
I dyed my beard.
I'm sure you did.
Well, Shane, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's an honor to have you. Looking forward to getting your thoughts on all the goings on in professional wrestling. It has been a very, very active week. And if we can, to start here, let's rewind to this past Monday night on Raw, where a big announcement was to be made by Becky Lynch. We would find out that that announcement was that she was expecting, she is with child, knocked up, as some people say, and will be welcoming a baby into the world sometime in the next 9 months. As a result of that, she relinquishes in a unique way the WWE Raw Women's Championship and actually gives it, or actually says that it was placed in the Money in the Bank briefcase. And Asuka, who won the Money in the Bank briefcase the night before, is now also she's Miss Money in the Bank, but she's also the Raw Women's Champion. Shane, this is unique. This is a first. A lot of things going on here. Firstly, Becky Lynch pregnant at a very, very pivotal time in her career.
Yeah, I mean, it's a life-changing moment for that to happen. I'm not surprised it happened. She is married. Things happen. But it does come in a unique time in her life, but being that she is the Raw Women's Champion. But kudos to the WWE for what they did in combining her championship, having to relinquish it instead of doing yet another tournament, instead of doing some over-the-top battle royal. They put the importance into the Money in the Bank. And I'm a huge fan of what they did with that.
You know what? Dave Hero, though, isn't a huge fan of it. He's actually had some criticism for Becky Lynch on recent shows.
Well, right now it's the worst possible time. If you're Vincent McMahon, okay, and your 2020 starts off pretty hot with a pretty solid Royal Rumble, okay? The road to WrestleMania comes, boom, you get smacked in the face with COVID-19. Your top male star, Roman Reigns, is not on TV because of it. And now your top female star, Becky Lynch, won't be on TV for at least a year. It's a bad time for all of this to happen. It's not like you can really plan, but you can plan. I just think that it's a huge mistake. She's leaving a lot of money on the table. If being a parent means more than her career at this time, I completely get it.
You just said she made a mistake. You just called the child a mistake.
No. The decision may have been a mistake, not the child. The child's a beautiful thing, but
well, we don't know what happened. I mean, they could have been taking all the precautions and one slip past the goalie. That happens.
That
happens all the time.
But Shane, I mean,
it happened to me.
But okay,
it happened to me.
But when
I slipped one past the goalie, that was not my intent.
But when your wife talked about it, did she look as sad and depressed as Becky Lynch did?
That was a little odd, but too, probably Becky is dealing with some of the things you just said. She knows that although, being a parent, as we both know, the best thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Could it have come at a better time? Ideally, yes. That's what she's dealing with. She's dealing with some of the things you just said.
Right.
She's dealing with something I didn't have to deal with. I was at home doing nothing when I became a parent. No big deal for me. She's having to relinquish a lot of money. She's having to relinquish her spot as one of the top acts in the industry currently. So of course there was a lot of emotions for her, I'm sure.
And there's a Marvel movie that she was supposed to be. I mean, and that still may happen because Hollywood is so far, behind on everything. But I mean, just so much money being left on the table. I was shocked. I laughed when I heard it because remember the last time this has ever happened was when Awesome Kong was pregnant and she had to leave.
Yeah.
And then it's like everything in the TNA water cooler got all the girls there pregnant for a while. So, I mean.
Well, Dave, I'll give you a chance to clarify. It just sounds like you are portraying this as the fact that you feel Becky Lynch made the wrong choice and the wrong decision picking her family over her career. Is that what you're saying or not?
No, not at all. I'm just saying that it's unfortunate that it happened at this point of her career. I think it's great that they're going to be parents. I think it's awesome because if that's what they truly want, there's no greater anything in the world than that. But what I'm saying is, imagine if it was The Rock or Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan or John Cena. It just to be gone that long.
Well, they can't get pregnant.
Right, but they could, but again, Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch, they were both on the cover of the video game in October, November, the two biggest stars they had. They don't have them right now.
But things like this happen. I'll give you a big throwback. Remember Sting when the Horseman turned on him? Sting's in line. He's getting a run. And then he climbs a cage, and somebody grabs his foot and blows his knee out against patella. And now he's gone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, they can come back. This doesn't mean Becky Lynch can't come back. It might seem like a little bit of doom and gloom now and from a business standpoint. But compared to everything else that WWE is going through at the particular moment,
But Shane, okay, very true. But it's different as a parent. How many times did it pull at your heart every time you left the house?
Every time.
Exactly. And that's now what she will have to go through when she goes back on the road.
Yeah, but I mean, we all do. I mean, I tweeted right away, this never happened to Ric Flair. Right away, I tweeted.
No. And he had what, 19 wives, right? Yeah.
At least. And that was a joke on the man because she calls herself the man. Yeah. Only a couple of my Twitter followers didn't get that. I'm surprised to.
Well, there's more to the story, and that is what you touched on earlier, Shane, which is WWE handled this, I think, incredibly well. Asuka was fantastic. She really grew on me at Money in the Bank because I hadn't been paying as much attention to the WWE product as of late. But, man, that character, the way she presents herself, she was the perfect choice for that championship and that win in Money in the Bank. You've worked with Asuka, apparently. You know Asuka. You know Becky Lynch. You know all the players involved. How good, how great is Asuka and fitting into this new role that she has now?
Absolutely perfect. And it's a role that she's comfortable with. She's been a champion before, champion in NXT. She was champion in SmackDown. Her tag team with Kairi Sane was great. I mean, I loved everything they did as the Kabuki Warriors. Yeah. I personally pitched for them to be called the Kabuki Kai. I'm just going to throw that out there. But she's fantastic overall. And what she's taken with traditionally in American pro wrestling, North America, and if you don't have that good American accent, you aren't normally as successful. She's just taken that and made something entertaining out of it. Yeah. And what she does with her facials and her promos, and you don't know I have no idea what she's saying. And honestly, knowing her, it might not even be anything. It might not even be anything in Japanese. It might be just her having fun with that mess. Who knows? But she's having fun with it. She knows who she is right now. And that's the most important thing that any performer ever has to accept and come to terms with is just knowing who you are.
Like when they first brought her up, she had a lot of steam behind her. And then they made her do promos. And I think that's when everything stalled. They forced her to speak English, and it didn't work. Right now, I mean, I think that she is the biggest fan favorite in the entire women's division right now.
Well, here's what's great, too, to what you said, Shane. We don't know what she's saying, but at the same time, we don't even want to know what she's saying. Because what she's saying is explaining, her facial expressions, her body mannerisms are explaining the point she's making, not with the words she's using, but with the entire presentation. This could be one of the most brilliant adaptations of a non-English speaking star getting over like a mofo on WWE programming.
Oh, without a doubt, her facials, her body language, she does what a lot of people don't do in promos. They glare and they get angry and all of that. And even if when you understand what they're saying, you don't care. I don't understand what she's saying, and I still care. That's an amazing accomplishment.
It absolutely is. And Asuka, now the Raw Women's Champion. God, who's next for her? It looks like it might be Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, who, by the way, I love her promo on Monday against Becky Lynch. They went real far there with that one, which was great. She did great, but it appears as if it's going to be her and Asuka going forward. Your thoughts on Baszler and your thoughts on this program, if it is to be?
It's going to be a great program. I mean, they both have that good NXT run, so there's a lot of footage that they can pull from that if they choose to do so. I think it'll be very interesting. You know, the submission versus submission style works best with Asuka, I believe. And I think that's going to really highlight what Shayna Baszler brings to the table as well. It's going to highlight both of their strengths. So I'd be very surprised if this feud was a dud.
You know, it's interesting. Shayna Baszler has been a bit of a tough sell for me. Much like I said, Becky Lynch had become a tough sell for me. I thought that, you know, her angry woman gimmick was getting old, if you will, and there was only so much you could do, which you actually said before I did, Dave. But Shayna Baszler, she's real deal, huh?
Oh, yeah. She's definitely, I mean, she's got credibility. She's tough. She's hard-hitting. You believe in her, that believability factor, which, you know, strangely enough, is rare these days. She has all of that. So, and Asuka has all of that, but with an entertaining aspect to it as well. Asuka is really a complete package right now. So I think no matter who she has in a feud, I think Asuka can carry it.
David, do you think there's a better female star in professional wrestling right now, specifically in WWE, or better than Asuka?
No, I don't, because again, she does everything. She is captivating. She makes you interested. She's physical, entertaining. And Asuka and Shayna Baszler, this is the first time I can think of in a long time where two women, besides maybe Luna Vachon versus Miss Jackie, where it's going to be physical, where these two are going to punch and kick and beat each other up.
And it's going to be fun to watch. And I think, well, maybe we'll see that at, Backlash coming up in June from WWE. But it's going to be fun to watch. And, you know, Money in the Bank was unique in its presentation. And Shane, last time we talked to you, we talked about the unique presentation of WrestleMania, specifically those cinematic matches and the changes that had to be made because it was coming to us from an audience-free performance center. They did something very unique with Money in the Bank and did the climbing the corporate ladder gimmick where you started on the first floor of WWE headquarters and had to get to the roof, ascend, and grab the briefcase. Now, we would see not only the unique presentation of the match, but a unique way of winning in both matches as they happened concurrently. First, the women's, I think it was Lacey Evans, who grabbed the briefcase in the conference room that didn't matter. And then at the end of the men's match, Otis ultimately winning, even though he was the third man, I believe, to grab the briefcase.
Now, Damien, I know you get blondes confused, but it was Dana Brooke.
That's what I said.
Lacey Evans would never make that mistake.
No, I said Dana Brooke. You're putting words in my mouth.
Oh, of course I am.
You said Alexa Bliss. I corrected you.
Oh, that's right. It was Alexa.
But Shane, what'd you think of the way they presented the match and then how the finishes were for the combined match?
I gotta be honest, this was one of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches ever.
Is that because it ended
I was entertained. I was entertained the entire time. You know, the combining of the two thing was pretty unique. I didn't expect that. I'm glad that they did because if you had to tell that exact same match twice, it would be redundant no matter what because of the corporate ladder thing, which was a brilliant idea, the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really brilliant. Like I've talked about this several times. Sometimes desperation really brings out genius. That's when you comes up. That's when you come up with some of your best ideas when you got no other choice.
Yes.
What they did with that was absolutely brilliant. Some of the guest appearances, the Brother Love was funny. Johnny Ace was funny. Vince in blue jeans was funny. I don't know who that Doink the Clown was. He was terrible. He's not getting any credit. That was a terrible Doink.
He didn't even look like Doink.
Yeah, that was a dink. That was a dink at the most.
Wait, was that one of the Survivor Series clowns? Doink, Dink, and Swank, and Wank, and Bank?
I think Dink was one of the minis when Doink had the minis with him at that time.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't quote me on that, but if memory serves me correctly. But I thought it was just brilliant. There were so many entertaining moments. AJ having a flashback when he saw the picture of The Undertaker. That's what, to me, that was key. That was a very important moment to me. Because when AJ returned on Raw the previous week, like nothing had ever happened. Like he hadn't been buried alive. That bothered me from a storytelling character perspective. That bothered me a lot. So, and I don't know if they happened to film Money in the Bank before this. I don't know when the filming of it actually happened. But AJ being shook when he saw that big picture of The Undertaker, to me, was a brilliant touch. And that was one of my favorite things of the whole Money in the Ladder match.
You know, they had a great opportunity within the match, as you said, with not only with them both happening concurrently, but they could take time for the little things that needed to matter in the match for the story that was being told and the stories that are continuing to be told. And the Undertaker AJ Styles one is an interesting one at that, because all those little things that happen. Now, I found it to be a bit disconnected at times, and it didn't flow as, I guess what we've been conditioned for is the Money in the Bank match is all these high spots, all these big spots, and all these, what the hell moments. We didn't have that as much, and I don't think we needed to have it, but just being conditioned to expect that, I was a little bored at times with the hokiness of the presentation of the overall Money in the Bank contest. But I was elated when the show ended about 37 minutes earlier than I planned, because that's all they needed. It was great. It was like almost one of the most perfectly booked pay-per-views. You had the championship matches, the tag team match, and then the Money in the Bank epic. It was a good delivery overall.
The one thing that I wasn't a fan of with the match was the food fight. I think they could have avoided that. If they're truly trying to get that briefcase to get that future world title match, you avoid the food fight. But the thing that I thought was cool is it showed a lot of different sides of character charisma with almost all the talents. I mean, you saw Aleister Black smirk and smile at times, and you saw Otis just be super Otis, and it was cool to see just them breaking out of their shells and trying something different that way.
Yeah, I agree. There were a few hooky spots. I think we can all agree on that. The food fight, I'm not going to disagree with Dave on that one. I probably could have done without that. But overall, if the challenge with these matches always has been, when you got that many different talents, how do you highlight everybody? Mm-hmm. And that would have been a challenge if it was just the men or just the women. They found a way to highlight every single person. I mean, how many different bodies were there, and we were able to highlight them all? But they were able, not we. Sorry, I wasn't a part of it anymore. So sad.
But, I was surprised. I was surprised that the girls got over on the guys twice. I mean, I wasn't surprised Shayna Baszler choked somebody out like with Ray, but I was very surprised that Asuka, with a boot to the head, knocked King Corbin off the ladder.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I don't know why, though. There's two briefcases. That was the thing I would have tried to have Corbin to do something to kind of instigate her to do it. There were two briefcases. She could have grabbed hers and he'd have grabbed his. I wish they would give a little bit more reasoning behind that head kick. But King Corbin getting kicked in the head is a plus for me. And then King Corbin throwing Ray and Aleister Black seemingly to their death. I got to be honest, I did pop for that. I'm not a fan of people being thrown to their death in general. And I don't believe it's happened since the giant Paul White Jr. got thrown off the top of whatever building that happened in WCW.
Right. That's in Detroit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You say you're not a fan, Shane, but if we follow you on Twitter, and I know most of us do, I think you are a fan of people getting thrown to their death at times.
So I'm not going to disagree with you here. This is my first time to the show, so I'm going to be a good sport.
Final thoughts on Money in the Bank before we move on to the next topic here. Otis wins the men's Money in the Bank. I think that came as a surprise to many people watching, including myself. However, I don't think you can argue what they can get out of it. Your thoughts on Otis winning and what might be next for Mr. Money in the Bank?
It's weird. I love the. Oh, is it me or you, Dave?
Oh, go ahead.
I loved it. I don't hate it. I expected it to be either AJ or Corbin. So if you can get me with an upset, I'm on board for that. Otis is a star. Like it or not, Otis is a star. People get behind him. They react to him. He was very entertaining in this very chaotic match. He's believable. He's got an amateur background. So there's going to be people that look at Otis and go, you know what, he doesn't look like it. But you know what? He has the background to prove that he is a wrestler.
Yeah.
He has a
He's a stud.
A legit background to show that. So it'll be interesting to see where they go because we've seen Otis the entertainer. There's also a story there for what happens when Otis gets mad. What happens when he wants to get serious?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying we do that now, but that's in the future. And what better thing to make him get serious than an opportunity to be the champion, to be the WWE champion?
Exactly. And right now for Otis, they have to save that for when there's fans in the crowd, because when he does cash in, that's going to be a huge pop from everybody because he is so lovable and so over. Now he's got the girl and the briefcase. I think it's great. By them giving the briefcase to Otis, it kind of tells me that they're very comfortable having Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman as the champions on both brands. They know Otis won't be a serious threat to either one of them, but it just shows that, hey, for the time being, this is going to work. So I liked it. I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised because, Damien, we've talked about this before. With the WWE, it's always right in front of you. And everyone wondered how Otis could be in there. Well, that's why he was in there.
Is that true, Shane, from your time as a performer and your time as a producer in WWE? We have said many times on this program, have Dave and I, that when it comes to light, when it finally happens, when that final box is checked, all the clues were there. And that, I think, is a testament to pretty good storytelling.
Yeah, sometimes it's organic and sometimes it's by design. You know, and sometimes it kind of happens. It's a little bit of both. Yeah. A little bit of the design helps the organic. You know, a lot of what happened with Drew McIntyre, things that we were doing on house shows, things we were doing with him on the undercard, that was by design. Mm-hmm. The fan base grew organically, but it grew because of things we did, that creative did. So it can be a little bit of both.
Yeah. Well, changing gears here and moving on to other news in professional wrestling this week, talking about NXT, which happened just last night. We saw, obviously, some good wrestling action. I want to ask you this, Shane. Looking at NXT, and Dave and I talked about this earlier today on our PWR Today podcast, NXT is easier to watch. I would say in this order in WWE programming weekly. It's NXT, SmackDown, then Raw. Firstly, NXT and SmackDown get the nod for being only 2 hours long. Raw, that third hour, just makes it a commitment. It's like watching Titanic every week. But NXT also has that different
look. More ways than one.
Yeah, right? NXT also has that different look. It's darker. The lights are off. They're not trying to pretend like they're in some massive arena like they do on Raw or SmackDown. At the same time, AEW has that same look and feel, but they've peppered in live people in the audience. What do you think is happening in the mindset of WWE to still try to present Raw and SmackDown as big arena shows, even though it makes it more obvious, at least from my opinion, makes it more obvious that it's not a big arena show?
I mean, they just want to always be presented as the bigger company. You know, that's a presentation thing. So Vince never wants to be the little guy. He wants to be the big guy. He loves them big guys. Historically, that's never going to change. I would imagine that they wish they would have had the wrestlers around the ring idea first, because what AEW does with that brings so much more energy to the product, and it makes it easier to watch for me. As a performer, I detest matches without a crowd. You know, I can still watch them and I can still enjoy them, but they are really low on my list of things that I'd like to watch.
What's harder, wrestling in front of the boys, the locker room, or wrestling in front of a live audience?
I mean, if you're doing a tryout match and the boys are just watching, that's brutal because they're going to crucify you. But in the AEW stance, the boys are part of their presentation. They're out there, they're playing their characters, they're playing their gimmicks. If you see Sean Spears or whatever he goes by there, we're holding up he's got his little signs that he's writing on. A Billy Gunn and his son over there, acting fool the whole entire time. They're having fun. They're being a part of the deal. That's a lot different. But like in WWE, sometimes before the show, before Raw and SmackDown, we used to have these tryout matches and just the guys would be watching. That's the most stressful thing you could possibly imagine in the business.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to put you on the spot here, Shane, and this is going to be I'm intrigued to hear your answer. What's the difference right now, the big difference right now between the AEW programming presentation and the WWE programming presentation. We just talked about the obvious things, but there's a different feel, not just visually, but there's a different feel for most of the audience, including me, when you watch the two programs. If you want to just compare AEW and NXT, there's a different feel. What's driving that, and how can how can the other company that's not doing as good, whichever it may be, get better?
I mean, AEW to me has fresher gimmicks. It just seems younger. Of course, the company is new. Maybe that's a part of it. I don't know. But some of the acts just seem younger. And it just seems to me that these talents are doing things that they want to do, not things they're being instructed to do from a character standpoint.
Yep.
And there's a lot of things they can do mechanically that need to get better, AEW. And I can say that about NXT and even Raw and SmackDown as well. There's a lot of things mechanically everybody can get better. But AEW just it does without a doubt have a fresher vibe and a younger vibe right now.
For me, Shane, I liken it to AEW is Thor Ragnarok and NXT WWE is Suicide Squad as far as movies go. It's just like AEW just seems like they're having more fun all over, you know, it really does.
Okay, I will say that although Suicide Squad sucked, so I would hate to put that on anybody. That's a little stiff, if I'm being honest.
Okay, Justice League. How does that? Is that better?
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, NXT is definitely seems more serious. You know,
yeah.
Although the DX in your house promo this week was really fun, that might have been the best advertisement for a pay-per-view they've done in a while.
Yeah.
And NXT is doing something really. They had two promos this week, one by Undisputed Era and one by the Garganos. Just completely entertaining. They're supposed to be heels, but it's two of the most entertaining segments on the show were by heels. Yeah. Where is any of that for a babyface?
Well, and then you throw in Killer Cross. And right now, I mean, he has the potential to be the biggest star on any of those brands if he's being used properly.
Yeah, if he's being used properly. But what I'm talking about in terms of entertainment and how you present yourself, the most entertaining thing NXT did came from the heels.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. You know, and then now they're going to be tweeners. And like what the business is massively lacking more than anything else is legit heels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if that's by intent, if that's by design, like, hey, we want these people to be tweeners, then okay, because there's nothing wrong with being a tweener. For a long time, that was a bad word. It doesn't have to be a bad word as long as you understand that that's what you are. If you understand that you're a tweener and that that's your goal and understanding the reactions that are going to come because of your tweener actions, okay, I get it. But what we're missing is heels. And I would rather be entertained by something that a babyface is doing than being entertained by the people I'm supposed to boo. Because after those promos, I didn't want to boo Undisputed Era and I didn't want to boo the Garganos. They were both both of the segments were entertaining.
Who did you want to boo?
On that particular show,
yeah.
I wanted to boo Creative after the way Thatcher just left the match. The whole thing about Thatcher giving away a championship.
Yes.
That was the dumbest thing of the whole entire week. On any show, that was absolutely. You're telling me these championships don't matter. Mm-hmm. There is no benefit to that whatsoever. They could have done, he got knocked off the apron. The finish could have happened after that. They could have had a dispute backstage, led to what, they wanted to do that whole story within one show. That story could have stretched out over a couple of weeks, maybe a month.
Right.
They wanted to do it in one show. Okay. They're kind of limited in terms of personnel. So maybe that was part of the reason for that. So, okay, we're going to tell this whole story in one show. Fine. But him just walking away, giving away a championship, like that's just brutal to me. Yeah. You're telling me these champions don't matter. These championships don't matter. And I don't think we should ever do that. And it's something that WWE, when I was there before, even the first time, they've done it here and there. And it's one of the things I hate in the entire industry. It's anything that makes the championships not matter.
Sometimes I won't say it helps, but sometimes it can be, it can fit into the story. I think of when Eric Bischoff gave Triple H the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw long time ago. That sort of fit because he had the whole brand split going on. Triple H was the chosen one. Eric Bischoff was the heel GM. But I think you're right. In most cases, it diminishes the title.
Yeah, if you give it to me, I want it. That's different.
Exactly.
He gave it away. He said, I don't want to be that champion.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you accidentally hit me is going to make me so angry that I might give up one half of my championship. Or the fact that you say, bro, and I'm a serious wrestler or whatever, it wasn't enough to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough.
Well, Shane, that's a tremendous T-shirt you're wearing today.
Hey.
It's old school, but new school. Stand back, I'm coming through. Where can we get that?
You can get this on collarandelbowbrands.com/Shane Helms, but you can look up with the whole site. Honestly, I talk about this on Twitter and my Highway to Helms podcast all the time. I wear a Collar and Elbow brand shirt almost every single day.
Wow.
Like just because they feel good. Not necessarily a Hurricane shirt. You know, I'm not that big of a mark for myself that I wear it every day. But I do wear a Collar and Elbow brand shirt 9 days out of 10.
And I think Dave wears one 7 days out of
I do.
9 days out of 10.
I really do. And today I'm repping the claw. You know,
yeah. So 9 days out of 10. That means that there's 10 days. None of those I wear Collar and Elbow brand.
Wouldn't it be more logical to say 6 out of 7 or 5 out of 7? Like to keep it within a week?
I mean, if you want to limit me to those parameters.
collarandelbowbrand.com, ladies and gentlemen. Also, final topic today here. We've got about 4 minutes left in the broadcast. Big announcement from AEW last night as well. Coming to their pay-per-view Double or Nothing on May 23rd, presenting the TNT Championship to the winner of the tournament will be Iron Mike Tyson. Dave and I spoke about this on our podcast earlier today. I think it could be transformational for AEW's exposure. Dave disagrees because Austin's not there, but this is big news. AEW with the Tyson get.
Yeah, it's huge news. I mean, Tyson went viral recently just for a video of him punching the mitts in which he looked massively terrifying at 53 years old. I wouldn't even cough in his direction. I probably shouldn't say shit cough in anybody's direction these days. It's like a complete animal. It's going to be a big moment for them. It's a big deal. It was one of my favorite things on the show because I wasn't expecting it. My favorite thing, of course, being Ray Phoenix with that flying kick to Orange Cassidy's head, which is my favorite thing of the whole week. Sorry, Cassidy, I loved it. But I think Mike Tyson is a huge deal for AEW.
If you had a favorite star in AEW right now, not a favorite necessarily, but if you had a star to watch out for in AEW right now, and maybe not just one, maybe one or two, who would they be?
For the female, I'll give you a male and a female. Chris Statlander, I thought she stood out in that four-way match. And I think there's huge upside and potential for her. I think Sammy Guevara has had a massively good 2 weeks. Him getting run over, the way he took the twist of fate last night was incredible. I wish somebody on production would have kept him backstage because he took that so beautifully. If you told me he would be out of action for a month, I would have believed you on how great he took that. But that's armchair quarterbacking. But I think Sammy has really stood out the last couple of weeks.
Dave hates Sammy Guevara.
No, I don't hate
He hates Darby Allin.
No. What I said that Austin was able to help WWE so much because he was in a main event deal with DX and Steve Austin. I said I don't see Mike Tyson having the same effect with a Darby Allin or a Sammy Guevara. They're going to need somebody a little bit bigger on the card. I mean, it may have to be a Lance Hoyt.
But Mike Tyson can make a Sammy Guevara or a Darby Allin, who I think are already made.
I don't know, because that's the big bully beating up somebody smaller.
Or them beating him up.
Well, you do have Jack Hager, who is undefeated in Bellator, who's a member of the Inner Circle. Remember, Mike Tyson's already knocked out Chris Jericho. They have a story. They have a built-in storyline that they can play upon.
That's a great point.
Yeah, so then Hager tries to step up. He's going to be the bodyguard. Boom, boom, boom. We'll see.
That's why you're here, Shane. You're the smartest man. You're the first of the third smartest men on this program.
I'm even the smartest guy in this chair.
Well, folks, Shane, you also have a podcast. It's the Highway to Helms podcast. How can we find that, and when can we find the latest episode?
It's everywhere podcasts are, iTunes, Stitcher, yada, yada, yada. It's Highway, the number 2, Helms, all one word. Yes, I know that's a lot. I should have thought about that before I came up with it 10 years ago, but after 10 years, you're kind of stuck with it. So You can find me, and it's normally weekly. It might go a week and a half sometimes because sometimes I just ain't got shit to say.
Well, I'm glad you had stuff to say here tonight. Prime Time with Shane Helms, our inaugural edition, and we are out of time for the time we allocated for this broadcast. But we'll be back again next Thursday night. We'll be talking about everything going on AEW, NXT, and we'll be just days prior to Double or Nothing, where Mike Tyson will make that appearance on that show, in addition to a lot of, well, they're unique matches for sure, with some interesting stipulations on that pay-per-view. So I look forward to talking about that with you next Thursday night on this broadcast. Shane, thank you so much for joining us. David,
Pleasure.
Yes.
I guess I should thank you too, but thank you to everybody for watching us. This has been the Pro Wrestling Report, Prime Time with Shane Helms here on Fight TV and across all of our social media channels. Get the updates on the draft right now at pwr360.com, or I'm winning.